Hi, good afternoon. This is Dr. Katrina Sanders from the Redeemed Fellowship Outreach Ministry, Church of God in Christ, where the founder and pastor is Pastor Robert R. Sanders II. I have been so tied up, but let me say happy holidays to each and every one of you all that reviewed this mini broadcast. Of course, there's a lot of things going on, and I'm quite busy, but I want to take this time out because of course, you all that know what has now hit Chicago right after the situation with my son Daniel and the Chief Key situation. The Chicago Police Department here has been under fire regarding the Laquan case and the Johnson case. My prayers go out to those families because those were somebody's babies and those were children of parents. So I am I'm so sorry that they're going through this right now, but God has a way of pulling things out. But I want to talk to you all for a minute about the situation with the Chicago Police Department, and I hope and pray that this gets to Mayor Ron Emanuel, including his his administration, and that way they can hear from someone that actually had an experience. The Department of Justice, I hope and pray that it gets to them so they can really not just deal with the Chicago Police Department, but go back to the training academy. Back in 1990, I was married to a Cook County police officer for 11 years. We're no longer married. That's a whole nother talk show. But the time that he started working for Cook County, they were training at the Chicago Timothy J. O'Connor Police Academy. He had relatives that were a part of the police force. Well, one in particular that worked for the Chicago, and he had others that worked in other areas of the city. But a couple of days I would go and pick him up from the police academy because they started at 7:30 and got out at 3:30. So this particular day that I was sitting outside, I heard it twice. And I really was concerned about how the police officers are being taught, how they're being trained. And in the training, I heard the commanders and the trainers say this to Chicago Police Department cadets as well as the county police officer cadets. You are programmed to take out anybody that is a defense to you. They didn't care if it was your mama, your daddy, your wife, your husband, your children. They deprogrammed them mentally how to be cop killers, and they deprogrammed them insensitive to human domain. I heard it. Dr. Katrina Sanders heard it. I honestly believe that the United States Department of Justice, as well as our mayor, you need to go into the training academy, because there have been incidences, and one in particular that I remember, where there was a relative of mine that attacked a female at a party, put her head in a chokehold. He was going through the process of being a police officer, and they dumped the case. You didn't talk about that. When the case went down with the young lady who called the police department and she told them to come get her strange husband out of her house because he was going to kill her, and the two police officers sat their behind over at White Castle eating, and she died when they came upon arrival. They waited for so long. I remember talking to attorney James Montgomery, who asked me if I would testify as a character witness to the character of that officer, because I was actually related to by means of marriage at the time, but we had gotten divorced. But I remember how that happened. The Timothy J. O'Connor Training Academy at that time had books. One of them in particular was called Chapter 38. So for those of you all who are in law enforcement, you know what Chapter 38 was. And they revised it. But the behavior of a police officer when they're trained, they are trained not to be psychologists. They automatically assume. They automatically just want to hurt you. They don't listen. They're not taught to listen. They're only taught to give surface facts before actually making the determination on what is right and what is wrong. That is where the investigation should start at, is at the training academy. Because in that academy lies the secrets of protections of a lot of police officers, cadets, either county or city, that are being trained to kill. My former husband became a psychopath about having guns. He loved to see all of the shows that had something to do with Lethal Weapon, Die Hard with a Vengeance, and all that stuff, because he was fascinated by that. Anything that you did as a police officer's wife, there were people at church that would say, "Oh, you a cop's wife. Oh, you're protected." No, I was not protected, because he took me through the ringer. And what I had to do, I had to study some of those books, because when he was getting ready to go for his exam, because the county would train their polices there, the cadets there, as well as CPD. So pretty much they had a whole thing going on where you were taught and trained. How I know what I'm talking about? I took him there every day, 5 days a week. They wore from county light brown, tan, cadet uniforms. When they got through, then they went to whatever site they were going to. So I understood what was going on. I can recall instances where I've run up on cocky police officers with a foul attitude that felt, "Oh, I own the world. I'm this. I'm the one. I do this. I do that." That's how they act. That's not, when they went in, they were like the Peanut Gang, Charlie Brown. They came out, they were like RoboCop. So now their mind has been changed from being soft and understanding and making right arrests, but they have turned around and they literally have trained them to kill. Now it took decades later, 20 years later, but now the U.S. Department of Justice want to do an evaluation and a background. But now let me explain something to you all. You had many citizens here in Chicago that have complained against an officer. They write bogus tickets, or they'll sit up and say, "Well, I got to meet my quota, so I have to give you a ticket." I know a lot of people who walked up at the meter and the cop was there and didn't even write the ticket and went on and write it as they were talking to them. I see that happen with some folks. Didn't happen to me, but it happened to a lot of people. And they called and complained, and then when you call that particular police station, they give you the runaround by connecting you to the district. Then they have you going to the regional, and then you going all around, all around, and all around, and all around. Now it took the death of two young men, especially Laquan, for you to now, under Mayor Ron Emanuel's administration, to want to do an investigation. Do you think you really need to do an investigation? Honestly, seriously? Because my understanding from past experience being married to a police officer, it was not fun at all. Because they're thinking of how to deal with people. They're quick to want to arrest somebody and don't hear no facts. I remember about 7 years ago, I was coming from work and I wasn't feeling well behind the seat of my truck. And I think I had eaten something, or my blood pressure something was going up. And I walked in. What I did was, to keep from getting in an accident, I pulled over into the police headquarters. I walked in there and I told them I need some help. Do you know that the police thought that I was on crack? I said, my blood pressure, I believe, is up and I need help. And they said, well, I said, would you get the ambulance, please? I just got off work. Do I look like I'm a crackhead? I'm a licensed evangelist. Come on, really? They called the police, the ambulance, paramedics came. My blood pressure was 200 and something, over 100 and something. Oh, we're so sorry. You're always sorry. You're sorry. You're always sorry. But you make bad decisions and bad judgments. People can stand there, and everybody don't sell you a line in the game. But you will not rush to people terrorizing folks' property as you would to somebody with a gun. My husband and I remember a few years ago where a young man was executed in our parking lot. 2 spaces. We went out there, and it was tons of people out there, and they said, don't touch him, let him die. And we both are CPR certified. The boy was leaning over the seat. My husband went to the young man. He prayed for him. He wanted to administer CPR, and it took the paramedics 10 minutes to come and get this boy. By the time they came and got him, he was dead. The police didn't want you to do nothing. We all said we CPR certified. They, oh no, leave him alone, let him die. Another case in point, I remember of a young man that had a situation going, and the police, the people in the car, they had problems, and they said, well, he gonna die anyway. Yes, this is what Chicago police officers do. They make the judgment on a person's life in a car accident. They're not sensitive. They're not emotionally attached. They're detached. Because what they were taught to train in the police academy, that's what they're taught and trained to give to the public. There was a time when you could depend on the police officers to be there for you if somebody invaded your house, or somebody called your phone and threatening you, or coming to your job and harassing you. Yeah, you would expect that. Not anymore. And then when you get the rookies on the spot, they feel, oh, I done conquered the world. I done learned all this. And in 9 months, I got my stuff together. Say something to me, I'll blow your head off. That's how they act, because they were taught at the Timothy J. O'Connor Training Center. They told them to kill anybody, including their mama, their dog, their wife, their son, their wife, or their husband. That's what they taught them. Now you're coming in after somebody that pissed you all off about your ethics. Now everybody want to come in. Speaking from an ex-cop's wife, I know the truth behind all of y'all. If I got to turn up my ex-in-laws' names, I will. I ain't got a problem. I have nothing to lose. Because it's all out there. It's all out there. It's the same thing with the LaTanya Haggerty case. You had a hothead cop that did not do right by that girl, and the city had to pay. Not only did the city have to pay for the woman who called about her estranged husband was going to kill her, the city had to pay out for that money. The city had to turn around and pay out money to the Haggerty family. And they still ain't got closure. So you've got all this going on with the Chicago Police Department. And because you train them to think like this, act like this, walk like this, talk like this, this is how they are. It was all done under Mayor Daley's administration, as well as Ron Emanuel. Now, as for Ron Emanuel, as I told him in my first video with the Chief Keef and him being the boss. Now, Ron Emanuel, you say I'm the boss. I run the city. I know every time somebody come in. I know every time somebody come out. I know. You cannot tell me that you did not know about the shooting, nor did that video exist. You can't tell me that. You can't tell me that. You're the boss, remember? You're the head honcho in charge. So if you are the boss, you know everything. That means who walked through the state building, who walked through City Hall, who walked through everything. I bet you even know who killed Mayor Harold Washington. I bet you know that. See, you gotta know this city. We was born in this city. We know what goes on. We know who killed Harold Washington. We know who killed him. His brother went in to make sure that the city did not tear itself up. But I talked to the family that was friends. I used to work for the people before he became the mayor. I found out. I know who it is. So my thing is, you need to go to the Timothy J. O'Connor Police Training Academy, and you need to get into that. And since you in everything, and you all in the CPS school, and you want to be taken with the kids and all that, go down there and spend all the months down in there. Get your aides and your administrators to help you run everything else. But go in there and find out how they talking to these folks. This is why you're at where you're at. Because you have hired people who are supposed to be qualified law officials and law enforcement instructors to teach law enforcement cadets how to kill folks. No matter if they innocent or not, kill them. You're doing what they did back in the Mod Squad days. Shoot first and ask questions later. That's the method that you're using. Now, this young boy who had no weapon and that guy, Van Dyke, killed him. He knew what he was doing. My son and I, we saw the video. My husband, we saw the video. We all three saw the video. It broke my heart. It broke my heart. Now, your skirt has been pulled off your behind. It's up in the air like Betty Boop. Oop, oop, oop. You need to go to the training academy. You need to find out what is being taught in the training academy. As for the young man that was killed over here on 53rd and King Drive, which is not too far from where I live, what are you going to do about that? What settlement are you going to give that family? I got 5 sons. And I know if any one of them turned up, I'm coming straight to your house. I forget City Hall. I'm coming for you. And I will deal with the police officer and as well as the chief of police. You hire all these people who claim to know law enforcement. And you have some of the pastors who you give money to help them in their little things that they don't even do right by the stuff because they're so secret with everything. And they don't even know what you do. You didn't kick God out of school. You won't create an educational curriculum for children that will be durable enough for them to pass tests, to have a good education. But you know everything. I really believe you need to sit down and reevaluate yourself. There's a song with this group that I used to sing with. And the song was telling you to worry about yourself. Set the record straight. Do it now. Get your house in order. Got no time to waste. You need to know that no matter if you're the mayor, the governor, you're not paying attention to the community. When Ron Emanuel conduced 50 schools and took the 50 schools out and blended these schools, you was blending nothing but a house of horror. Because you have children from different schools and neighborhoods that were together. And now all of a sudden they got to go in with another school who don't do nothing but fight every day like Cooley High. We just fighting. And the school over here is learning discipline. Now they got to go be undisciplined as why? Because the mayor made the decision. Now, United States Dept of Justice and Mayor Ron Emanuel and Robert Ronner, you need to go to the training academy. That's where you need to go. You all are going through too much illicit paperwork to go because they're going to hide. You got to understand, you in Al Capone City. Understand that. You're in Al Capone City. You need to know what really is going on. Stop messing around. Go to that training academy. Review their records. And find out what they are saying when they are teaching. That's where you're at right now. You're at that right now. Because there are so many things I heard when I would go up there to pick him up. And I sat there and I said, my God, am I living with a killer? Most police officer wives, they go through stuff when they married to a cop. I promise you they do. When they go through, the women have to be careful when you're marrying a cop. When they go through the academy, they are not the same person that comes out. Everything to them is about killing folks. They make unwise judgment calls. They don't make the right decisions. And this is where you go. I want this particular video to help those 2 mothers. I have 5 sons. I have not experienced what you experienced. But my heart goes out to you. But I know what I heard in the Timothy J. O'Connor Police Academy. And I heard the men say it. If it's your mama, your daddy, your husband, your wife, your child, if they become defensive, you kill them. I heard them say it. And I will testify on your behalf of what I know. Not no hearsay of what I heard them say. They had the training where they had them training in the morning, had them running all the way from Jackson Street, where Timothy J. O'Connor Police Training Academy is, and they had them running all the way where the Sears Tower was and down by the lakefront. You wore blue shirts. Am I right, Timothy J. O'Connor? You had some county officers, cadets, and you had some CPD. The difference between these two is that county has a different accreditation scale than Chicago. In order to be CPD, you got to have a certain amount of credits. Then it was 400 and something. I think it was 475 or 85 for CPD. And he was with Chicago, he was with Cook County, so he was short 25 from being a Chicago Police Department, a police officer. Now understand this. It didn't happen until a few years ago. In the early, I think it was part of 2000s. Anybody could become a Chicago Police Department officer. All you had to do was go and apply, go through the psychological evaluation exam and go and be chosen. And you didn't have to have no college credits. Now you do have to have 59 major credits in order to become a candidate for the Chicago Police Department. And you can't be over the age of, I believe it's 35. So we were in our 20s, late 20s then. I hadn't even applied for it because my aunt, before she retired, I wanted to become a Chicago police officer on crime. Not to hurt the citizens. And we know that people play games. We know that citizens lie. There's a reason for 911. So the thing about it is that U.S. Department of Justice and the Chicago Police Department, Mayor Ron Emanuel, Governor Ron, you need to go to the Police Training Academy. That's where it all starts at. I pray this get to you so you would know going through the paperwork is fine. And looking at the paperwork being altered and shredded and videos being tampered with, you need to go straight over there to the Timothy J. O'Connor. That's where it all starts. That's where it all starts. That's a brotherhood. It has become the Illuminati. Every police officer hide because during the time that we were going through in our marriage, he threatened to have me killed. He threatened to murder me on many instances when he was messing with the mistress that he's married to now. So I'm letting you know the pattern. I'm not an angry ex-wife. I'm very conducive, honey. I love my husband that I'm married to now. I'm in love with him. But as a former cop's wife, I can speak out against what I know to help somebody else. So I don't want none of you all teenagers getting on here talking crazy because you all talk crazy on the other thing because you love Chief Keef and he's your God. Well, go ahead and serve him. I see you get in trouble, he'll come get you. Remember, he's your God. But I'm helping these women out to let them know it is not your son's fault. The fault comes from that training academy because of how they were taught and how they were trained. That's where you need to go. That's where you need to go. That's where it all starts. From that point, they become cocky. No matter what nationality, they stick together as a brotherhood. They cover each other's sins. They cover each other's affairs. They cover each other who shot what. Why do you think this man took so long for them to come to bring Van Dyke to the front? They covered him. And they were afraid of him because you got a lot of crazy officers that will sit up and play that Eddie game from Tyler Perry's movie, If Loving You Is Wrong. You got a lot of officers that are like that. But it started the training academy. I'm praying for those families. They're going through. And I wish nothing on no one. But you want to start somewhere, you need to start the Timothy J. O'Connor Training Academy. That's where your birth begins. Because when they get through, they birthing out monsters. I promise you, I'm not afraid of them at all. Because a lot of them I run into were very nasty, very cocky, and need their butt kicked. But that's how they train them. They teach them to be evil and reckless and cover up stuff. They come in making $55,000, $60,000 a year, but they have a nasty attitude. So a lot of you Chicago police officers, you need to be respectful. You can be able to uphold the law without being disrespectful to people. And stop acting like everybody else don't have nothing. There are folks out there. You judge folks that live in the housing projects. You judge folks living in affordable housing. You judge folks everywhere. You judge people. Nobody asked you to be the judge. You protect the innocent folk from the crazy folks. That's your job. And ask questions. Don't use the old Link Moses from the Mod Squad, shoot first and ask questions later. You don't do that. The SWAT team, you don't do that stuff like that. But Timothy J. O'Connor, that's where you need to go. That stops all of that. You go over there, you run through there. Like I said, I will turn up names. If you want to, I'll give them to you. But that's what happens. So I'm praying for these family and our leaders. You know better. Y'all know what's going on. You know what's happening. When you say, I'm the mayor, I know everything, then you knew about that video. You knew about it. You just didn't want to talk about it. And you pat them folks on their behinds. That's not right. And then you come to our churches, the African American churches. I'm talking to our leaders now. Ron Emanuel, I love you. But some of the things you do, I don't agree with you. I don't have to agree with you. That's my constitutional right. I don't have to follow everything you do. Ronna, I don't have to believe in you either. But you come to the African American churches and you look for us because you figure, oh, we're going to give you the vote. No, I ain't vote for neither one of y'all. You got to prove to me that you love people. You got to prove to me that you have a passion for people, not a passion for money in the office. Your title don't mean nothing to God. If God come through here and sweep Chicago, he ain't studying you. God going to take you out of here. How about that? But you got some people that love God and going to live for God, going to pray that you make the right decisions. But if you feel that you messed up somewhere and you let the people down, maybe you need to resign. Because we're tired. We're tired. We are tired. Don't, as my husband say, do not pee in my face and tell me it's raining. You can't do that. Tell me it's raining. I know the difference. Maybe you need some help. But we need to stop and go back to the Timothy J. O'Connor Training Academy. That's where you birthed those monsters out of. And that's why they are the way they are. And this is why you're here today. Until next time, you can catch me on my Blog Talk broadcast. Lady Katrina M. Talk to you later. You all be blessed. Pray for this city. Pray for this city. Because we're in trouble. And it's going to take God to get us out.